welcome. It's good to see you again and connect with you. I'm Elektra Porzel. I'm the director of the Creation Institute and a member of the Spirals of Being with Tantra. Thank you. This is a time that I want you to come to, not for answers, but for ideas to explore. Because that's what I'm doing in my life, is exploring and seeing how I can create better the world that I desire. And it isn't necessarily a world that will live within the reality I was born into, which may be or maybe not be phrases that you understand. Simply to say that we were born into a reality that pretty much determined how we should see the world and how we should see ourselves and think about ourselves. And it is possible to create and live in other realities. And we're in that transition point where we're learning how to do that. So part of the transition point is to consider other possibilities. One of the marks of the form of the reality we were born into is that we tended to see circumstances as problems and seek an answer, and then we think the answer that we found is the only answer. And it's not. It's one of many, many answers. And I was taught that when I was a little kid by my father, who is a physicist. And sometimes it's hard to remember because our society really holds very clearly that if you found a answer, that it was the answer and that everybody else is wrong. And that's not how life is, truly. So I engage you to ask to you today to come with this with your considerations, or to consider it. That's all you have to do is consider it. You don't even really have to do that, but you're on the call with me, so maybe that's why you're here. So here's a quote from Maria Rilke Rainier. Be patient towards all that is unsolved in your heart and try to love the questions themselves, like locked rooms and like books that are now written in a very foreign tongue. Do not seek the answers, which cannot be given to you because you cannot live them. You are not able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps you will then gradually, without noticing it, live along some distant day into the answer. And I think this is a very, very powerful concept to say, allow the future to unfold, allow that which is unknown to unfold, and set the stage. And how do we set the stage? I think we set it through 4 different pieces. One of them would be magic, the other is attention, the other is ritual, and the other is time. And obviously I'm not going to cover all of those today, but I'm sort of setting the stage because this is going to be my discussion with you over the coming months. Because I'm growing into this, and I invite you to grow into it, and then comment back. So first of all, the reason this has all come up as a current thought in my brain is that I spent the last 3 weeks in Damanhur, Italy. And for those of you who don't know, Damanhur is a eco-spiritual community located in northern Italy, somewhere near Turin and Milan. And one of the towns that it's in is called Vidraco. In any case, this community sees itself as an interrelated whole with nature and the divine forces and humans. And everything that is structured in it is looking at those relationships. And over time, they pay attention to them. And the difference in paying attention is, I believe, where the magic happens. One of the teachers, Anna Lopez, said to me, she says, magic isn't like you see on TV, where all of a sudden it's flash, flash, and something shifts. It is in the doing an action over time with your intention and attention. And I realize that I spend a lot of my life, I can do things, but I don't have my pay attention. And you pay attention in two ways. You pay attention inside on what you're experiencing. What is the messages that you get when you are with nature? When you are, with others? When you are in connection with Source. And your Source can, I don't know how you name it, but you can name it God, creation, Allah, Great Spirit. But these are really important, we call them resonant markers in the language of creation. But they tell us that I'm almost in alignment with them. I'm in connection. And I know that there are other energies and other beings that I have actually in relationship with. And so how does Damanhur show that? One of the ways they did it was they say, okay, they have a relationship with nature. So you will see on the sides of their buildings huge, tall paintings of flowers and plants. And they said they make them bigger than humans so that we remember that they are equals to us, that this is not a humans can do anything world. They set aside a portion of their center, welcoming center, land that is just for nature. No one can go in there. At least none of us. I think some Damanhur people might have a go in. But what does it say when you say nature has the right to have its own space? Elementals have the right to own space. Not everything can be intruded upon by human activity, because humans are often very unconscious and pay no attention to the rights or the feelings or the needs of other beings. So, and it's sad, it's extremely sad that we have ignored those which are our partners in life. So in any case, and this may sound odd for you, but remember, my invitation is for you to think about it. Think about when you've been struck by the beauty of something, or feeling a relationship with a tree, or knowing what was going on when no one spoke about it. So you're in touch with information that your system can know. And the other thing is then to take note of it. And if I want to be in relationship with those things and have them as part of my life and recognize that I am part of a whole and not a disconnected being living in a mechanical world, then I have to pay attention to those things. So for those of you who are sensitives or empaths, you know what's going on in other human beings, and you pay attention to it in ways that most people don't. If you connect to nature, you feel the flow of the river through you. You connect to the trees in your yard or the animals. Pay attention to it, and then you create what I would call ritual if you want to have be in relationship with them, which means that you acknowledge to them internally or through external action that you hold them and their interaction with you to be whole. Because what we're moving towards is a reality where we can be connected to life and where we exist as whole. And we want a reality that supports us in that way. And to build that reality, to create it, to anchor it in this space here, we need to be paying attention in a different way. We get really busy in life and we run and we miss, maybe now it's the bud of the plant opening. In the winter, it may have been the gleam of the snow upon a branch. If you have children that are near you, it's the beauty of innocence in their eyes. But it's the paying attention to that and making note of it and listening to it and even bringing it into a ritual of your life. When I'm in Damanhur, I was in the temple and I was, oh God, so deeply touched by how the utter respect and caring they have for everything in that temple. And it exudes it. And I don't know how else to say that, except that this belief they have, the tenet is that one doesn't say anything bad about anybody else. And that one must consider things and bring possibilities into mind. But if I say that this statue that is in the hall was made by someone, then I respect the statue as I respect them. It's not that it's clean like hospital clean. It's clean because someone loved it and respected it and cared for it with the love and respect that they would give to anyone they love. The paintings on the walls are exquisite, and if you want to see the inside of a temple, you can go to their website, damanhur.org. But everything is done with this attention to the relationship. And I believe magic happens eventually from that, because over time you live the kind of relationships you want to have with those beings, whether those beings be other humans, be animals, plants, trees. There's a wisdom that's in nature that we need to be back in touch with. There's a wisdom of the divine forces that we need to get back in touch with. And it's not going to happen because we wish it. It's not going to happen because we say some intentions. It's going to happen because we pay attention through regular ritual. And it can be, we like to talk about sometimes about it, making a date with creation, which is you say to creation, which is again another, the word I use for source, God, Allah, Great Spirit, that on this time and in this day, I will be available to do this thing. In my case, I like to write. We have a practice right now in the spirals called the 90-day practice of committing to write cravings and observings, which are part of the language of creation. And the language of creation was meant to help us design the future that we desire and really be present to where we are as well. So that's a work that can be in time, that is a ritual that I do, that keeps me focused on creating for me the kind of world that I want. But there are other rituals that I'm looking at developing because of this intensity of experience that I had at Damanhur, that the deep, deep appreciation and trust and relationship with the beings of nature and the divine forces that live in Damanhur, because they take the time to be in relationship. So I have these trees that are on either side of my apartment. One's in the back and one's in the front. And I've been thinking that I've always enjoyed their strength. But I haven't actually made a practice of saying thank you for the anchoring of nature that they do for this apartment complex. And I'm thinking, I'll start small, and I'll do that. Just each day, honoring them for the gift of their presence for this apartment complex and me. The other thing I've been thinking about, you may notice that in the background there's pictures of these 3 older women. One, the biggest picture is of my grandmother. The next picture is of my mother. And the smallest picture is of my great-grandmother. And I put them there after my mother died last year, because what I wanted to do was to honor the ancestors and honor the women who gave so much so that their descendants could have a life, have a good life. And I think part of our heritage, and I really believe this, is part of our heritage is their gift. And if I can say thank you to them every day, and you'll see I've got a candle that I light, it's just to say thank you and to give honor to that part of me that comes from them. Because I am both the history and the values that they have imparted to me, and I am the future. Because I'm committed to creating a future where the reality supports human beings to be whole and connected to life. And I'll do anything I can to get there. I'm committed to a future where human beings can be honored for their unique and vital presence here on earth. And that we recognize that each of us has that. And how do we do that? How do I do that other than, first, I have to live that. In other words, I have to honor that about myself, that I am a unique and essential being, and I have to honor it about you too. And, my dream is that the children, not just us, the adults, but the children, are honored and nurtured and respected from their earliest time as these unique and essential beings. Do you imagine the world that they can create if that happens? So those are a couple things that I'm putting into my ritual base. So if I can honor my ancestors and honor the future through the 90-day practice, and pay attention and in gratitude to at least the trees around me, it begins to be, and I don't know if you can feel it, but it comes a pulse of life, because I am no longer living this singular existence from day to day, doing whatever society needs me to do or I need to do to live within this society, but I'm living a greater relationship with the totality of what it is to be human, as well as the possibilities that exist. And I really do feel it becomes a pulsing field that has a life. And the more I can live that life and pulse it, the greater the opportunities for all who are connected to me. Greater the possibilities for humanity. And I think that's true for all of us. So I want you to just put in your field that it's possible. That it's possible for us to create a reality that's different than the one we were born into. That there will be magic in our lives if we start paying attention to the greater whole. If we pay attention to that which nurtures us and supports us in life. There's just so much richness in the world, and so much love, and so much beauty. And if I could do anything, one of the things that I'm going to do in my life is travel. Just to be in the energy of the land and the nature that is present in each site. For a while 2 years I've lived in Hawaii. And there's a bliss that I have in that land that I haven't existed anywhere else. And it's not because it's paradise, it's because that land has a vibration with me, and I with it. So anyway, magic comes from ritual and paying attention over time And it's paying attention to your insides, the messages that you get, and it's also through the attention you give through your actions. One of the things is that we live in a community, and we have a responsibility as a community, and I think a lot of people are waking up to that right now. And so that's the gift of the Trump administration, is that we have woken up to our role in the community and how vital it is. And it isn't vital to get mad. It's vital to start paying attention what is mine to do, to create a world where we live together in community, in unity. So that's my 20 minutes, I think. Thank you very much. It's The Thoughts Will On Go. I'm speaking every Sunday, every other Sunday now, from 12 noon Mountain Time, which is Denver. So for those of my friends who have joined me from the East Coast, that will be, what, you guys are like 2 hours ahead of me, so 2 p.m. Anyway, love you. It's really nice to see that you've joined. If you want to talk about it, please, we can get into discussion on Messenger, on Facebook, on my page, or on the Creation Institute page. If you're interested in what the cravings and observings are, it's from the language of creation, and I've put the link up there to find out more about that if you're interested in. Anyway, I appreciate you seeing your names, and I'm sorry we can't talk, but we'll talk to you soon. Have a good day. Bye-bye.